The following is a special presentation of ABC Sports.
ABC Sports presents live in its 30th anniversary season the Professional Bowlers Tour. Today from Fresno, California, it's the Fresno Open. In our first game, first-time finalist Bob Spaulding will face two-time champion George Branham III. That winner will meet the 1980 Player of the Year Wayne Webb. In the semifinal game, Dave D'Entremont will try to win his first title. And our tournament leader, Marc McDowell, is the PBA's president and a two-time champion this year. That's our outstanding field of finalists for this afternoon's Professional Bowlers Tour telecast. Yes, the professional bowlers have come to a sprawling city called Fresno, surrounded by the most abundant agricultural area in the world, the San Joaquin Valley. Fresno, a city of some 350,000 happy people, and we're glad to be back here. We've been coming here for a long time to Cedar Lanes, and it's delightful. Hello again, I'm Chris Schenkel. Great field of five today, going for the title, the Fresno Open. My colleague Nelson Burton Jr. came here first 19 years ago when the PBA first came. We've been coming here to Cedar Lanes for 17. Now my colleague, another step in his exciting journey. He is a senior bowler now, having turned 50. He competes in his first event in Las Vegas this coming week, so we wish him a lot of luck. Senior citizen in the Pro League anyway, Nelson. Here he is, Bo Burton.
Thank you, Chris Schenkel. Cedar Lanes has been good to me, and I hope I have a good time on the senior tour. However, this bowling center has been even better to this young man to my right. He's the tournament leader here. He won his first title here just 3 years ago, and he has a good chance to become the Player of the Year. And as the season's gone two-thirds of the way through, Marc McDowell, can you kind of critique how the Bowler of the Year chips lie?
Well, it's basically a four-man race, I think, right now. I guess the surprise of the field is Eric Forkel. He's basically come out of nowhere and just bowled well all year, very consistent. Dave Ferraro and Del Ballard, two established veterans. They can win at any time. They're both right there. Ferraro's had a great year. For me, I guess this is a big chance right here. If I can put the third title on the board, that'd put me right up in there, and I'd have the most titles. So who knows? I'm having fun with it, and hopefully things will go well today.
All right, Mark, good luck today, and let's look at how you've played the championship round throughout the week. The PBA lane maintenance crew has put oil down 40 feet on the lanes, a little heavier concentration in the center of the lane. The back end is dry. Now the players will be playing a somewhat of an inside angle as we start the matches, around the third arrow, swinging out to about the eighth board. But these lanes tighten up as the oil carries down, and in the later matches, the players will move outside between the first and second arrows and into the 1-3 pocket. Chris, there's a lot of money at stake this week.
That's right. We have a total of 130, 18 to the winner, 95 runner-up, 7, $5,500 and $4,500 to the loser of this first match between George Branham III on the left and a non-winner named Bob Spaulding of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Big right-hander, a 6-footer, 225 pounds, and he told Bo and me earlier that when he was playing football, he weighed 242. So he's left the 5-pin, Nelson.
Chris, the championship pair is pretty well balanced. They're pretty close, so if a player gets grooved on one lane, he should be able to hit the other. And as you saw, Bob Spaulding start out with a little bit of a tentative shot. He's a bit nervous, as can be expected from anybody in their first championship round, but he's off to a pretty good start with a spare.
So the pressure is added with his first television appearance. Best finishes this year, 38th twice in Parma, Ohio, and at the Bud Light PBA National Championship in Toledo. Now bowling out of Indianapolis, Indiana, 29-year-old George Branham III, 2 titles. Leaving the 10-pin. Second television appearance for him this year. He was 5th in the Johnny Petraglia Open.
George with just a tremendously solid style. He's developed his game. Look at how good his swing is, right in line. Look at his feet in good position. Look at that left arm out, driving straight through the shot.
Good job. Covering the 10, George Branham III.
George from a bowling family. His brother Richard is a 190 average bowler, and he's also a outstanding basketball star at Cal Berkeley. A little bit bigger than his brother. Richard is 6'5", 230. George 5'10", 170.
George named the Southern California Junior Bowler of the Year in 1983. And now, Bob Spaulding, one of 6 pros that bowled perfect 300 games. Kelly Kaufman, Dennis Jakes, Dave Traver. The strikes like that. Wayne Webb and Richard Abboud.
Chris, you said how strong this young man is, and it's very true, and he carries it over into his bowling game. Watch his wrist as he's cupped here, and look at the solid forearms. Now, he'll pull this left arm back and drive straight through with the shot. That left shoulder pulls back. See, no turn on the ball. It's all uplift. Today's modern player stays underneath the ball and uses that wrist. Good direction, good power.
Leaving the 2 and the sleeper 8 on the left lanes.
Ball coming in light. Head pin goes to the sideboard. Will take out the 4 and 7. Tilts out the 5. He leaves the 2 double wood 8. A very difficult shot in this bowling center. There's a little heavy oil in the center, so sometimes you don't get up to it. Once you get across the center, it can hook by it.
Match that is all even. And now with Branham up and a strike working, he can take a 10-pin lead shooting here on the right lane, 3rd frame. Four-pin.
George got a good break in the 2nd frame. The 2-pin tripping out the 4, not to be here in the 3rd frame. Both players a little bit tentative. George, in his first 7 championship round games, won all 7. He was 7-0. Since then, he has been 1-5, so he'd like to turn it around.
George Branham III earlier described the new training program that he's adopted.
Well, about 2 years ago, Bo, I felt that physically I needed to improve my game. So the only way I felt I could do that was to go to a health club and work out and lift free weights, and from there it's helped me to get more revolutions on the ball and to be more consistent.
Okay. George Branham. We're in the San Joaquin Valley. Fresno's the city. Its skyline has changed recently, and here's why.
Here's something you should know. Athlete's foot fungus grows beneath the surface of your skin. So to cure it, you've got to get down to the root of the problem, to the source of that burning and itching. You need Micotin.
Micotin penetrates the surface of your skin with miconazole to cure athlete's foot where it grows.
Oh, thanks.
So why treat just the surface?
Get down to the cure. Step up to the mic. Micotin.
I don't need some fancy cologne to tell me I'm a man. I use Skin Bracer. It smells great, but it also cools and tones my skin. Confidence is very sexy. Don't you think?
Skin Bracer Aftershave by Menon.
Dear Thompson's, I swear by Thompson's Water Seal. But recently, when it ran out, my son finished with another brand. Then it rained. What a difference. Thompson's beat it up, the other brand nothing. Thanks for a product you can believe in. Marvin Snoddy, Locust Grove, Virginia.
Cedar Lanes in Fresno, California. 40-lane establishment. We're using lanes 23 and 24. Our championship pair is Bob Spaulding is trying to win his first pro title. Wonderful strike. Bob Spaulding described the road he took to get on the PBA Tour.
Well, I started when I was 9, and I stayed in the junior circuit until I was 13. I was averaging around 200, and then I decided to upgrade and bowl in the men's competition. And I bowled through 2 years of regional circuit, and now I'm out here trying to make a living on the PBA Tour.
And throughout his touring wife is with him. You saw her a moment ago, and his mom, Catherine, is cheering him on here today.
Two-pin doesn't do the job, goes to sideboard and leaves the 4, takes out the 7. As wife and mom look on, the match is all even through 5.
A lot of pressure for them. Any members of the family that are watching, yes, they look very tense. George Branham III. All right. Beautiful strike, and I'm sure his wife Jackie back in Indianapolis. Jackie hosting a big cookout, Nelson, while they're watching our telecast today. And we've been invited. We may not make it, though.
Sounds like fun. She couldn't make it here because of airline arrangements. Now, we'll see how George is playing the championship pair. Almost the same on both lanes, playing a shot right between the 2nd and 3rd arrow. Has a chance to take a 20-pin lead.
10-pin on the left lane. His last win was in the 1987 AC Delco Classic. His first win, 1986 Brunswick World Open.
George looks comfortable out there. You see him moving around cat-like, where Bob Spaulding still a bit tentative. He's said he was very nervous in the 42nd game last night as he just barely qualified for the top 5. Needs to get a win under his belt.
And needs some luck.
That's for sure. Headpin goes to sideboard. Doesn't quite do the job on the 10. Here you go. He's playing between the 2nd and 3rd arrows. He's going to come out. The headpin's going to go to the sideboard, but not quite do the job on the 10. With a conversion here in the 6th frame, he would trail by 10 pins.
Our first game, the winner will meet the 1980 Player of the Year, Wayne Webb. And then Dave D'Entremont, and our tournament leader is Marc McDowell.
The big guy Spaulding, a little bit farther left on the approach than we saw George Branham. And he'll also be right around the 3rd arrow. He has a little bit bigger hook than Branham, but a lot of power.
It's his 3rd strike here at Cedar Lanes. Selma, California is just outside of Fresno, and it's #1 when it comes to raisins. Here's a peek behind the scenes. The abundant San Joaquin Valley.
When Batman's arch enemy, the Penguin, reserves a room at any choice hotel, like Quality, Comfort, Clarion and Sleep, or Econolodge, Roadway and Friendship, he doesn't get to stay free. But his kids do. Kids 18 and under stay free at any of the 7 brands in the Choice Hotels family. Call 1-800-4CHOICE today.
What's been the highlight of your Lake Edna stop, Matt? I'd say this new honey barbecued chicken, Russ. Get 2 pieces with baked beans, coleslaw, and a biscuit in a roundup meal for just $2.99. Or the 8-piece meal, just $9.99. Oh, what? The whole thing. Now get to KFC as quick as you can. Honey barbecue wings are back, glazed in a special sauce with a touch of honey. People are rushing to try it. KFC honey barbecue wings in Lake Edna or your neck of the woods.
Hi, I'm Jack Nicklaus. Join me along with the world's finest players as we tee off in one of golf's greatest events, the U.S. Open. Live coverage begins next on ABC Sports.
George Branham, at whom you're looking, of Indianapolis, is leading by 10 pins over Bob Spaulding of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. A nice smile from George, and why not? Dancing off the deck. Bo?
Thank you, Chris. One Wayne Webb, all 5 players today are big, strong guys, upper body strength. How important is that on the championship pair?
I think power has become very important in the game of bowling. And on the championship pair, the back ends are starting to get a little tight, so that extra power gets the ball through the pins.
All right. He said go with power, Chris. We'll see what happens. He's up next.
Okay. Failing to carry the 10 pin on the left lane, George Branham. George won his first title. He beat Mark Roth, 195 to 191. Last year, earning $64,190 with third place finish at True Value and a second in the ABC American Bowling Congress Bud Light Masters, which was won by Doug Kemp. Looking for that first win, Bob Spaulding. Big strike, Nelson.
You're right, Chris. That makes the match all even. Great potential for a tie here. Both players are even through 8 frames, and they've hit around the pocket. And to kind of follow up with what Wayne Webb said about the upper body strength on this championship pair, we've noticed the 10 pin standing, and that's when the oil is carrying down the lane a little bit. It's important to snap that wrist, and this fellow does it as well as anybody. He can take the lead here in the 9th.
Getting with it very much, beginning to perspire as Carol on the left and his mom, Catherine, applaud.
Chris, you picked up something very important there as he perspires. If he happens to perspire on the approach, it can cause one of the players to stick. I've had that happen before in my career, something that Branham has to watch out for.
Foundation strike in the 9th frame for Branham, keeping the pressure on both sides. Next Saturday, there will be pressure in El Paso as the pro bowlers ride high in the Great Southwest. Who will win the El Paso Open? Well, find out live next Saturday on ABC Sports, our regular time, 3 Eastern.
Branham needs a strike to level the match, 10th frame.
All right, this is when it gets exciting, Nelson, now.
You bet. GB3, you cannot throw it any better than that in the clutch. That was his finest shot. He leaned back, put it all together, and the scoreboard tells the story. We have the potential for a tie match. No matter what Branham does, he cannot shut out this man.
Has strung 3 here at the end.
To make a great living on the Professional Bowlers Tour, you must perform in the clutch. George Branham has saved his best shots for last, a potential 229. The match is still up for grabs.
Flawless finish by Branham.
Boy, he's really put it on Bob Spaulding. Spaulding must strike on the next 2 balls to advance. Anything less, Branham will meet Webb.
And a pesky 10.
Good performance by Bob Spaulding. Kept the ball in play, kept it around the pocket, but the veteran George Branham took it when it came down to the clutch. Branham's going on to meet Wayne Webb, a real experienced, tough opponent. Great match coming up.
We were hoping that Bob Spaulding would have a performance that would please him because he has one of the most ingratiating smiles we've seen. We only saw George smile once. That was after a dancing pin went off the deck for a strike. And here's Bob now. $4,500, 229 to 217. So, Bob, don't feel too badly. You did a wonderful job. And now Branham moves ahead here in the great capital of the world as ABC Sports presentation of Professional Bowlers Tour will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Everybody hates to even run. We'd rather take it slow. But the way this life is going, gotta grab your food and go. And with all that running round catches up with you at last, get yourself some Alka-Seltzer and you'll feel better fast.
For acid indigestion or heartburn with headache, nothing's faster or more effective than Alka-Seltzer.
Get yourself some Alka-Seltzer and you'll feel better fast.
Hey, use a spark plug that's tested to fire clean for 30,000 miles. Motorcraft. Motorcraft quality parts. From Ford.
Perspiration's okay when you're playing tennis, but not when you're close.
If a guy smells, it's such a turn-off.
Get a little closer with Arid, the anti-odor antiperspirant that helps keep you extra, extra dry.
Yeah, I trust Arid.
From David Lynch comes the funniest show.
I'm in charge. I am in complete control. What's next?
On the air tonight.
It's summer savings time at your neighborhood Turkey Hill. Refreshing and delicious Gatorade is on sale. You'll save 20 cents a bottle. Particularly picky people pick Pickles chips. All varieties on sale at 50 cents off. Look for the Hershey Candy Bar display. Your choice, 3 for only 99 cents. And you'll save 30 cents on Coca-Cola fresh from our fountain. Turkey Hill, always near, and quick service. Thanks.
At your neighborhood Turkey Hill.
You never know what kind of copier dealer you got until you have a problem. But when you call a Minolta dealer...
Hello, Harrisburg Copiers. Bob Louis speaking. May I help you?
You'll always have a dealer who makes service and response a #1 priority. So if you buy a Minolta copier from us, we'll leave no problem unsolved and no question unanswered.
Catch the Greg May Sports Report tonight on 27 News.
The Pro Bowlers Tour, brought to you by Carrier. Ever since we invented air conditioning, we've been making it better inside. We're the inside guys. By Choice Hotels International. And by Alka-Seltzer. For the way you live today, you'll feel better fast with Alka-Seltzer.
We're in Fresno, California, where George Branham has defeated Bob Spaulding, 229, 217. 8 strikes for Branham, who now goes against Wayne Webb. Bo and I are always pleased to be around Mike Albee, my fellow Hoosier and great champion. Mike, you led for a while here.
Yeah, I struggled a bit last night, but got close, ended up missing my 60 pins, but bowled well all week. Mike, you're from Indianapolis. George Branham's from Indianapolis. Wayne Webb used to live in Indianapolis. Kind of critique this match. Do these two players know each other well enough, and who do you pick in this match?
Well, I think George has had some bad luck on TV, but with a big finish last game, it's going to give him a lot of confidence. And Wayne's bowling kind of defensively, so George probably has an edge right now.
All right, but both players are even after strikes in the first frame. Wayne Webb probably lived in the shadow of Mark Roth and Earl Anthony, two of bowling's all-time greatest, more than any other person in professional bowling. He had one of the greatest records of all time. However, during that period, Roth and Anthony dominated the game.
Leaving the 3-6, the man that in 17 years, remember the PBA has 17 titles, Bowler of the Year in 1980. You've been able to watch him.
We bowled doubles in the early 80s and talked to Wayne a little bit last night. And he was talking about he just wanted to win one last game so he could stay high enough in the standings to make the show today. And that's what I meant by bowling defensively. He needs to attack.
I agree with you, Mike, and knowing Wayne Webb, he always threw that powerful ball, and he was very tentative there in the second frame. And here's a red-hot George Branham, who is as sharp as ever.
Looking great. Double now for Branham. Strike and a spare for his opponent, Wayne Webb.
I'll tell you, a championship pair that is evenly matched, a bowling center that has a reputation of being one of the highest scoring centers. In fact, the highest scoring championship round of all time was right here in 79, 250 as you see Branham with the full grip, the extended index finger, and 2 strikes in a row, third frame. Mike Albee seemed like he lost that ball at the bottom of the swing, just a pinch.
Yes, that's the first one that he's really lost off his hand. As you see the ball coming in just a little bit late, by not catching it all, didn't quite get all the way up in the pocket, and the 6 couldn't take the 10 out.
Good point. Lift is what takes out the 10.
Now, Wayne Webb up. He was one of those 6 pros that bowled 300 games and did his against David Traber. Traber setting a new PBA record, the highest loser score, 299.
Wayne Webb holds the ball much higher than he used to, has changed his timing a little bit, has a full push away, good solid position here, good solid position here, and drives through the ball. Gets a little closer to the foul line than he used to be. He used to be about 2 feet behind the foul line, much like the great Don Carter. Webb with the longer push away, more ball speed, now is closer to the line, can take the lead with a strike in the 4th.
And the 1980 Firestone champion has doubled here in Fresno, California. 30 years ago, this tune rose to the top of the charts.
When Liberty Valance walked around, the men would step aside, because the point of a gun was the only...
Recess! Teacher outside, children outside.
Lewis Carrier air-conditioned the first schoolhouse in 1926.
Simon says, come on, come out.
Ever since Carrier invented air conditioning,
Come out just for a minute.
we've been making it better inside.
You don't come out. You are going to stay after school, huh?
From the first schoolhouse to your house, Carrier makes it better inside. We're the inside guys. Call us.
Recess is a state law.
At the first tickly itch of athlete's foot, Desonex. Killing those grungy fungi before they get racket and burning. Go get that can now, or else don't blame Desonex. I don't need some fancy cologne to tell me I'm a man. I use Skin Bracer. It smells great, but it also cools and tones my skin. Confidence is very sexy, don't you think?
Skin Bracer Aftershave by Menon.
Spaulding's Big Guns head to West Texas for a Lone Star shootout too good to pass up. It's the El Paso Open on ABC's Pro Bowlers Tour next Saturday.
We're back again in Fresno, California in our second game. You're looking at George Branham III. He won the first match against Bob Spaulding, 229 to 217. Here he trails by 1 against Wayne Webb, shooting in the 4th frame, a spare up. Well, Mike Albee, great shot. Before we get a comment, though, we need to go to Nelson Burton.
Thank you, Chris Schenkel. The man in the number 2 position throws the best strike ball, I believe, in professional bowling today. And Dave D'Entremont, the lanes look ideal for scoring. What's your attitude going into the match?
Well, during practice, I had pretty much the same reaction I had last night, and I made a pretty big charge last night to make the show, so I'm confident and just trying to make good shots.
He's going to lean on it, Chris. He'll be in the semifinal. Back to you.
Why didn't that 10-pin go, Mike?
Looked like the same thing. He's just kind of... Looked like he's lost a little bit the bottom of the swing. You see the ball comes breaking a little bit late. 6 just doesn't have enough power to lift out the 10.
Okay. Well, another spare for George Branham. 2 strikes working now for Wayne Webb, shooting in the 5th frame of our second match as tournament leader Marc McDowell and Dave D'Entremont continue staying loose. That's why you hear the pin fall.
Ugly shot there. Webb not getting the lift on the ball, sliding by the head pin, leaves the 210. A very makeable split under normal conditions as you see him sliding by here. But a little tougher split to make on this lane condition as there is a kind of a heavy concentration of oil in the center of the lane. Hard to get the ball left.
Oh, yeah. one way.
Mike Albee turned to me and said, big break. Watch this is how the 7-10 split is converted also for you folks, where you get a good kick off the kickback. It's 29 inches from the end of the lane to the kickback, which stops the pins. And if you catch it just right on the up plate of the kickback, the pin will come back out. Great break for Webb.
Mentally, that shot keeps him in the match.
And comes right back with a booming strike in the 6th frame, Wayne Webb. Look at that wry smile.
Mike Albee says mentally, but physically it does too, is that Branham now only has a 1-pin lead instead of a 12-pin lead.
Doesn't bother him, though, does it? Mike, you're a native of Indianapolis. You married a California girl, however.
Yeah, just from Northern California, Monterey. Tammy's from, and Christopher were down yesterday to watch, and back to Sacramento today.
Okay. Keep them on the road as much as you can.
Yeah, they're out with me every week.
The onlyest way, as
Only
they
way
say
to
back
go.
home.
Only way to go.
For George Branham, 7th frame, can make an 11-pin lead with a strike. No good breaks for Branham so far. He wins that first match with a solid 229, but he had every ball around the pocket. And let's look at this match. Double, 10-pin strike, 10-pin strike, ripping 7. With a conversion here, he'd only lead by 1. And these 7 pins are no gimmies in this bowling center. A lot of them have been missed to the right.
We're at Cedar Lanes in Fresno for It's Open, 17th time. And a Did You Know is coming up. Look at that one.
Never seen nothing like it. I mean, Rusty Slade was an ornery sort. Always ate his old bran flakes just for fiber. But one morning, I gave him Kellogg's new complete bran flakes. Weren't the same. More than fiber, they had whole grain wheat. Flakes for new, too. Crispy, crunchy. Why, that Kellogg's complete bran flakes even had a better nutty taste. It was all so good, made Rusty smile. Almost. New Kellogg's complete bran flakes. Fiber, and then some.
When you're into sports, you're into ABC Sports. From the thrill of victory to the agony of defeat, the action's on ABC. Now for the real sports fan, Nutmeg Mills has created authentic ABC sportswear, starring the Monday Night NFL collection, the College Football collection, and the Wide World of Sports collection. Authentic ABC sportswear by Nutmeg Mills. Get into it. Real sportswear for real sports fans.
Looking for a title shot, hard-hitting heavyweight contender Tommy the Duke Morrison meets Joe Hip live next Saturday on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Marc McDowell, the reigning president of the PBA, is our tournament leader. And speaking of presidential things in the PBA, our guest commentator, my fellow Hoosier Mike Albee, is one of the candidates for president of the PBA, Bo.
You're right. He's with Ernie Schlegel and David Houston. And quick question, Mike Albee, what would you like to see happen if you become president of the PBA? What are the key issues?
Well, I think the key things are the communication between the front office and all the players from the seniors, regionals, and national tours all stick together and make bowling #1 sport.
Good point, good platform as Wayne Webb once again slides by on the right-hand lane.
Well, at least there's one presidential candidate that has a platform. That up, boy, Mike.
Webb sliding by, 2-4-5. Once again, kind of a tough spares on the left side here. You got to guard against the chop.
Okay, Wayne Webb has picked up a new hobby. And he's looking for challengers.
A little while back, I started arm wrestling just for fun. And I started beating a lot of people. And then I started picking on a lot of people bigger than me. And in Denver last year, they had a tournament right next to the hotel we were staying at. Played in the tournament and came in second in the regional division. So I've been arm wrestling a lot of big people.
You're next, Bo.
Well, I don't want any part of him. I've tried arm wrestling. He weighs about 170 pounds, and those short arms are hard to bend. It's like a big tree, Chris. You throw a rope around the top of a tree, it's easier to bend over, but a short tree is hard to knock down. Right now, Wayne Webb's got 2 pins in front of him and 3 pins in arrears here through 8 frames. I think this is a point, Mike Albee, where George Branham III is going to put the match away.
And he's probably wondering why it's not already put away the way he's thrown the ball, but now he has a chance to do it again.
The scene is set for Branham. He leads by 3 despite never missing the pocket so far in 1 game and 8 frames. A potential 239. Wayne Webb, a potential 226. Key 9th frame.
Much smoother release that time. He didn't try to go after it and jump on it. The ball rolled much smoother, and that's why he carried all 10.
Got that extra wrist cock and has put the pressure on a good clutch player, Wayne Webb.
Best shot he's thrown in that lane at least 3 times.
Agreed. And here's where Webb's at his best. He's almost lulled Branham asleep in this match. It looks like Branham has just been killing him, yet he only leads by 13. Webb, with that very short approach and a very tight line, can take the lead with 2 more strikes.
The 6th man to reach the $1 million mark in professional bowling earnings, Wayne Webb.
And Chris, he's matured over the years. He used to be the big power player, very similar to our next man in the finals, Dave D'Entremont, but as he matured, he's worked more on his accuracy, kept the ball in play, and he's kept himself in this match. Webb, when he couldn't strike, was always out of a match. However, he's made some errant shots, and he can take the lead and possibly win the match if he can strike on this shot, 2nd ball in the 10th.
And in our booth with us is the man that was the 5th millionaire, Mike Albee.
Great shot.
Boy, oh boy, showed no emotion, Chris Schenkel. Could have taken the lead.
Started giving the ball a little more room after leaving the 210 and the 245 on the right lane. He's now started getting the ball out and getting it back in there.
Might be too late.
The native of Rehoboth, Massachusetts. And Mike, that's a little town next to Seekonk, where there was Seekonk Speedway, and I used to announce midget races there, you being the greatest fan of the Indianapolis 500.
George Branham needs a mark, 17 pins in the 10th to win the match. See ya.
Wow.
George making just tremendous shots. He really hasn't thrown a bad shot yet at all. He's lost a couple off his hand, but they haven't hurt him at all. Nothing but good shots from George.
Good point, Mike Albee. George Branham in 2 games, 5 10-pins, 1 7-pin, 1 4-pin. All the rest strikes. And he's throwing 22 consecutive balls in the pocket. He has this match in hand.
Like his victory over Bob Spaulding, finishing strong here at Cedar Lanes in Fresno, California.
Possible 239 to go along with the 229 he opened with. This next match, Chris Schenkel, I'm looking forward to. Dave D'Entremont, Mr. Strike on the Pro Bowlers Tour, coming in the semifinal against the red-hot Branham.
.239, 2:15, our second match. Time for our regular feature on what's new in the world of sports science and technology.
Sports and Science Converge, brought to you by AT&T, sponsor of the '92 U.S. Olympic team. In the battle against 10 pins, a bowler's only weapon is the ball. Because lane conditions vary from stop to stop, tour pros change balls from week to week. While minute variations of weight placement can drastically change ball performance, a bowler will drill from 1 to 3 new balls each week.
The importance of a different bowling ball every week is to compete with the lane surface, the lane condition. Every week is different. Some weeks there's a lot of oil, some weeks there's no oil. Some weeks there's oil in the back end of the lane and dry in the front part of the lane. So they have to play around with different ball types, different ball surfaces, different brands of balls, just to find exactly the perfect ball for the conditions.
A mercury scale measures the precise weight placement of a new ball. and a durometer tests surface hardness. If both readings are within tour limits, a seal of approval is given, and the ball is placed into a bowler's corral at 8. With new equipment custom tailored to lane conditions, bowlers pursue their best possible performance.
Either you give your customer the best possible service, or somebody else will.
We could take you on a vacation you will never forget, but you've got to get through to us first.
AT&T has the most reliable 800 service. It's guaranteed by the 800 assurance policy, and it's designed so that more calls actually get through.
Our 800 service is our front door. If it shuts down, we shut down.
When you consider that every call is a customer, why would you want anything less than AT&T?
We can make a difference. AT&T. Call us.
I don't need some fancy cologne to tell me I'm a man. I use Skin Bracer. It smells great, but it also cools and tones my skin. Confidence is very sexy. Don't you think?
Skin Bracer Aftershave by Menon.
Ace Best Buys are easy to find. They're great values like these.
This Ace 60-foot garden hose is just $8.77, and this Stanley 25-foot power lock tape with free utility knife is just $9.99.
Ace Best Buys. Another reason Ace is the place. For you.
Call now to feel the excitement of the perfect game.
Oh, yeah.
Thrill to the making of a 7-10 split.
Wow, let's replay that, baby.
And enjoy historic footage of bowling's legendary champions. ABC Sports presents an all-new home video, Bowling, the Perfect Game. Available only by calling 1-800-4ABC-VCR. Classic moments in bowling history can be yours for the incredible price of $14.98 plus $3 shipping.
With 8 strikes, George Branham defeated Bob Spaulding in the first match, 229-217. Came right back with a powerful game, 239, 9 strikes, to Wayne Webb's 215, and now in the steps, huge Dave D'Entremont. For our semifinal game, Mike Albee and Nelson Burton.
Well, Mike, do you think George can lay back this game and get a slow start as he's done in the other two?
No, this one he's going to have to start out with some strikes. 4 or 5 at the end of the game is not going to win it here.
I think a good point, and it's been a great tournament so far. We've had a 160-man field. Game average 211, very high for a whole field. 219 to make the top 24. Warren Nelson, 1978 national champ. Shady could have made the top 5, some bad breaks. Williams having a solid year. Rich Abood bowling better than he ever has. Our guest in the announce booth, many-time champion, Dave Traver, still on a roll. The #1 money leader, Eric Forkel. Joe Merrill, Pro Shop, he's got to be proud of his bowling. Mike Jasnow says hi to his family back home. Dave Arnold. Fields, new young name, looking for a sponsor out here in the tour. Lawrence. Randy Peterson says Larry Lichstein helped him with his game. Moser, Ty Lewis, what a powerful young player he is. Hugh Miller, solid lefty. Dennis Horan finished second last week in Riverside. And Malacosta's got some water skiing money for 24th place, Chris.
Okay, and then a week from today we'll be in El Paso for the Open there, 130,000 total. Then 2 weeks from today to Tucson for the PBA Open in that desert city. We're in Fresno, in the heart of the San Joaquin Valley.
All right.
Irrigated.
Sorry, Chris. Stats for George Branham. 24 balls, 24 in the pocket, 234 average, 71% strikes. He'll have to up that against Dave D'Entremont.
Well, he gets his 18th strike of this Saturday afternoon in Fresno by the narrowest of margins.
Good solid release by George. Look at how inside out he is. And the action of the head pin. Out here on the tour, we call it the Scout. Urethane bowling balls, light pins have put that strike in everybody's repertoire. Now, big Dave D'Entremont.
He's a 215-pounder on a 6'1" frame. 10 years PBA. Parma, Ohio, where we have an event on our winter tour. He has 7 regional titles. Mikey makes it look awfully easy.
He really does. He can get the strikes going at any time, and we look for that right now, I'm pretty sure, here.
Mike, don't you feel with his wrist action, hand underneath the ball, the high backswing, and really powerful body that he can strike with the best of them?
He really can, and it's amazing he didn't carry that 10-pin there. You watch him get underneath the ball here, throws around, he'll stay right behind it all the way through to the point of release.
Okay. Branham's 7th overall television appearance. 2nd of this year, he was 5th in the Johnny Petraglia Open in North Brunswick. 13 at Sacramento. And, Mike, I did forget to mention at the top of the telecast that Nelson Burton cashed here in this tournament. He's back swinging.
Looks real good. The seniors ought to be shaking in their boots
I
in
would
Las
think
Vegas.
so.
Right. I'll probably go to the seniors tournament, not cash, show up down in El Paso and steal some money from you guys.
Next Saturday, ABC's Wide World of Sports returns with explosive boxing action. A live heavyweight showdown. Tommy Morrison, who's knocked out 28 of his 33 opponents, continues his drive for a title shot when he meets Joe Hipp. And the American Championship Racing Series continues as top thoroughbreds dash for $1 million in the Hollywood Gold Cup. That's next Saturday. ABC Sports Wide World.
First ball that George Branham has been errant with all day long. He sent it wide, and he could get it back from there if he catches it all. But it slipped off his hand a little bit. He leaves the 2-4, 5-8, get the ball between the 2 and 5, carry out the 8, guard against the 5-pin chop. Tough spare. George hasn't had a tough spare today.
Now D'Entremont with a strike up. Can take a 14-pin lead. Shooting in the 3rd frame on the right lane, using all of the approach. I mean, all of it.
Hangs off the back of that 17-foot approach, slides right at the foul line, can make it a 14-pin lead. Mike Albee, what happened there?
It looks like Dave just tried to get a little extra on it and got it out a little too wide too early. And it's right to the heart for the 4, 6, 7.
As you see his style, he has the big push away and kind of tentative at the bottom of the swing as you see him snapping through. You know, with a big power player like Dave D'Entremont, you really can't be an aimer. You have to be a freewheeler. It's almost like a home run hitter in baseball. You can't just try to aim the thing. Do what you do best. D'Entremont tried to play the accuracy game, paid the penalty there in the 3rd, and nobody off to a quick start in this match, so look out for Branham.
Bouncing back after an open frame, Dave D'Entremont. We'll have more of this match following this message.
Get into Bud Light. The clean, fresh taste won't fill you up, never let you down.
In cases you can think that you know you got it right. Everything else is just a lie. Everything else is just a lie. Keep your Bud Light shining.
When Batman's arch enemy, the Penguin, reserves a room at any choice hotel, like Quality, Comfort, Clarion and Sleep, or Econolodge, Roadway and Friendship, he doesn't get to stay free. But his kids do. Kids 18 and under stay free at any of the 7 brands in the Choice Hotels family. Call 1-800-4CHOICE today.
The course, one of the world's toughest. The event, the one every American golfer wants to win. Live 18-hole coverage of the U.S. Open begins next on ABC Sports.
George Branham, shooting in the 4th frame, spare up, semifinal game. Okay, Nelson.
Thank you, Chris Schenkel. Our tournament leader, Marc McDowell. Mark, as tournament leader, would you like to see a real nice scoring environment as we have here today, or something that's real rough? What's the advantage?
Well, I think, you know, when you're a little nervous, maybe not quite as loose as you are during the week, a higher scoring environment would be a little better. So scores look pretty good out there today, and I think it's going to help me. I'll be loose, and hopefully I can get some strikes going.
All right, the tournament leader has won 2 in a row. Let's see if we can make it 3 today. Back to you, Chris.
And George Branham, who's won 2 matches coming into this semifinal game. Mike Albee is left to 2 and sleeper 8.
Yeah, George made a real good shot on the right lane coming out of the commercial break. You'll see this one here at the bottom of the swing. He once again loses it just a bit, and you see the ball bounce slightly and didn't get quite the finish he needed to carry the light hit. It's a tough spare, the 2-8, but he made the bucket, so he should know what the ball's going to do going there. Spare.
Mike, when you're into your 3rd game with the pressure of television at all, do you notice perhaps tiring a bit? Could that happen to George?
It's very warm here in Fresno, and it takes a lot out of you, especially all week here, but the lights add some of that, so he has to keep his mental concentration up. George does.
Now, D'Entermont, 5th frame can take the lead.
Leads by 2, Dave D'Entermont, who went to an arm brace a few years ago, and now you have an opportunity. He tells you why.
Well, actually, I started wearing it when I started going down here quite a bit, bowling 40 or 50 games a week. I needed it. It sort of acts as a shock absorber, and if I bowl 1 block without it, I get bowling elbows, so to speak.
All right, he's got that train going. He leads by 2, can make it 12 with a 3rd consecutive strike.
Great break there. Got the ball slightly inside his target, but the ball held up and tripped for 4.
See how George Branham answers. I don't think he's been behind by more than a few pins in any match. Right now he trails by more than a mark, and he needs more than 2 strikes to catch up.
We have Mike Albee of Indianapolis guest commentating, and here in Fresno, in addition to the great agricultural heritage, this is the home of race car drivers, too. The Vukovich family are from this area.
Many years in Indianapolis.
And also Johnny Boyd, who used to come to the Speedway and race.
Our host, the Wathans, went to the Indianapolis 500s, guests of the Vukoviches this past year. Now, right now, 7th frame, George Branham trails by 12 with a strike, can cut it to 2.
Ball's not making it up on that lane now. George is going to have to make a move here very quick.
Good point, Mike Albee. A part of bowling that all people should understand and everybody has to adjust to as you bowl, especially on fresh oil on a lane, which is necessary to control the ball, it carries down towards the back end. The ball will break less for a while, and you have to make an adjustment either with your feet or with your speed.
Trailing by 12 here in the semifinal match. We're in Fresno, where relief from the sweltering heat is only a short drive from downtown.
You know, you get into fitness, you're likely to get an athlete's foot, and it could get pretty tough. The irritating itch, the painful cracking, the burning. That's when you want a medicine that acts tough. Tough Actin Tinactin. Tinactin cures even the tough cases of athlete's foot fungus. And Tinactin's clinically proven. No wonder it's the antifungal most recommended by pharmacists.
Got a tough case of athlete's foot? Get the medicine that acts tough. Tough Actin Tinactin.
Everybody hates to eat and run. We'd rather take it slow. But the way this life is going, gotta grab your food and go. And when all that running round catches up with you at last, get yourself some Alka-Seltzer and you'll feel better fast.
For acid indigestion or heartburn with headache, nothing's faster or more effective than Alka-Seltzer.
Get yourself some Alka-Seltzer and you'll feel better fast.
Spaulding's big guns head to West Texas for a Lone Star shootout too good to pass up. It's the Alka-Seltzer Open on ABC's Pro Bowlers Tour next Saturday.
We're in the semifinal match of the Fresno Open. Dave D'Entremont in his first game, going against a 2-game winner, George Branham. Right now, he has strung 3, shooting in the 7th frame. He has a 12-pin lead.
The train of Dave D'Entremont keeps that hand underneath the ball, just nails it down 4 in a row, has a 22-pin lead. And let's look at how he's playing the championship player, by far the most powerful of the 5 contestants today. He'll be to the extreme left and play the ball between the 2nd and 3rd arrows, much deeper than all the other players, has one of the great strike balls in the game, and with one more in that zone there, can put George Branham on the ropes. What do you think, Mike?
That was a big shot of the match. He pretty much controlled his own destiny with that one. Great shot. Ball broke a little late, but he threw it as well as he could, and just a solid 10-pin.
Interesting point here is how D'Entremont attacks the spares. He'll flatten that wrist out and go across lane with a lot more speed.
Ooh. Too flat.
Too flat and just a little careless, Mike. You just can't step up there on the approach, especially under pressure, and open the door for George Branham. Look at this shot. Kind of whips it down there nonchalant. And wow, what a major change in the match right now. Branham trails by less than 10.
Great shot by George. This is the first 2 matches. This is where George has taken over.
Next Saturday, don't forget, Wide World returns with explosive heavyweight action. There's John Wayne's relative, Tommy Morrison. He's going to go against Joe Hip, and we'll have the American Championship Racing Series from Hollywood Park.
Mike Albee, any salutary advice for George Branham? He needs a strike here, and he struggled on this lane.
He needs to move right and keep his speed up. Great shot by George. Same break that Dave D'Entremont got.
The solid 10, all of a sudden we're seeing the solid 10 in the later matches. In your opinion, what do you think causes it? You watch the pin action here, and why are we starting to see the solid 10 where we didn't see it earlier?
I think the oil is carried down a little bit farther, so the ball's breaking a little later, so the guys have to go a little straighter into the pocket, and their angle has changed just enough to get the 6 around the 10.
All right.
D'Entremont, his wife Sylvia, who's in the insurance business, is watching back home in Parma, Ohio, suburb of Cleveland.
Ninth frame leads by 9. Put the putty to it there in the 9th frame. He just sucked that 10-pin right off with the 6, the tremendous lift. And right now, with 2 more strikes, Dave D'Entremont can end George Branham III's day. And he knows it. Perspiration, Chris Schenkel?
I guess so. Huge man at 215, 6'1". Pressure of telecast, pressure of winning his first national title, Mike. Do you remember what that feeling was like?
Sure do. About 13 years ago. To this day, 13 years ago.
6 pins needed on this ball to assure victory. That's enough. Spare, he would be 213. The best Branham can do is 206. A classic setup in the final match here. Marc McDowell, PBA president, eyes on bowler of the year, former champion here, going against the powerful D'Entremont, going for his first championship.
George Branham, who won 2 matches with scores of 229 and 239. Up to this point of 92, he's earned $21,440. Last year, $64,000. Last title was the AC Delco in Union City in '87, but he'll get his 3rd one of these days.
As soon as he gets that bench press up to about 250, Chris, he's going to dominate out here. Mark my words. Another 10 pounds on George Branham. Look out.
213, as we mentioned here, for DeEntremont, and then be in the 190s for 29-year-old George Branham III. All right. 195, 213, DeEntremont and Marc McDowell. ABC Sports presentation of the Professional Bowlers Tour will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Iron Mike on rust.
I hate rust.
Iron Mike on tough.
This is tough. Rust tough. This is rust. Oleum? The dictionary defines tough as strong. Not easily influenced. Like me. The definition of oleum is... We sprayed this rusty metal plate with fast-drying rust tough, exposed the rusted metal, then placed it in the torture salt fog chamber. The rust didn't spread. It stayed tough. You want tough? What do you want? Oleum. Got rust? Get tough. Rust tough.
Perspiration's okay when you're playing tennis, but not when you're close.
If a guy smells, it's such a turn-off.
Get a little closer with Arid, the anti-odor antiperspirant that helps keep you extra, extra dry.
Yeah, I trust Arid.
I don't need some fancy cologne to tell me I'm a man. I use Skin Bracer. It smells great, but it also cools and tones my skin. Confidence is very sexy. Don't you think?
Skin Bracer Aftershave by Menon. The military has recruited and trained black Americans so successfully. Is there a lesson here for business and industry? Watch Peter Jennings on ABC's World News Tonight next week.
6 wheels, a dish on top, and a Winnebago we go. Friends since the 2nd grade. Products of Altoona, PA. That's Jack, the Butch Cassidy of the Poconos. That's me, Andy, now Mr. L.A. The boldly go where no man has gone before. That's Jack's motto. I say if you can't get there by car, you have no reason being there. Well, here's to new faces and places you don't see in L.A. But I still say if you got a cold old mill and a view that fits on a 12-inch screen, it doesn't get any better than this.
Toyota truck. Toyota Lee, awesome. That's why Toyota is the #1 selling import truck in America. Toyota Lee satisfied owners make Toyota America's #1 truck line in customer satisfaction. Toyota Tough. Don't settle for anything less than Toyota dependability. Go ahead, break out of the ordinary. See your Toyota dealer today for Toyota value, the best deal going.
The LKO Highlight Show following 27 News tonight at 11:30.
I'm Brad Musburger at the Pebble Beach Golf Links, reminding you that still ahead of us here on ABC Sports, the 3rd round of the United States Open. Weather on the Monterey Peninsula, still overcast, but not much wind, and so the scoring has been very good here in the early going of the 3rd round. As you know by now, Gil Morgan has set our standard. He has yet to tee off. He's at 9 under par. He'll go with Andy Dillard. And Scott Simpson, a former U.S. Open champion, is setting an early standard. Right now, back to Chris Schenko.
Okay, and we're at the Fresno Open. 3 games have been completed. Branham beating Spaulding 229 to 217 with 8 strikes. Then George Branham III of Indianapolis came in the 2nd game with 9 strikes, eliminating great champion Wayne Webb 239 to 215. Then Big Dave DeEntremont of Parma, Ohio, eliminates Branham 213 to 195. So the championship match is set with the president of the PBA, a 4-time PBA champion, Marc McDowell, going against Dave DeEntremont, looking for that first title. And it's been elusive for so many people. And Bo, you came here 19 years ago.
Yes.
With the PBA.
And, you know, looking at this championship match, Chris, I finished 2nd here once, 1970, actually 20-some years ago. And 2 guys have something to prove. DeEntremont has only averaged 162 and 2 times at trying for the title this year. 2nd in Seattle, 2nd in Baltimore. And a very determined Marc McDowell is 0-3 from the #1 position. It's going to be a great match.
Of course, Marc McDowell has won 2 titles already this year, along with 3 other professionals, so he can go out by himself with 3 titles. Nelson Burton hangs out with a lot of interesting people. Right now, he's going to hang out with some future bowlers. Watch these delightful kids. And Bo.
is a sport for people of all ages. And on today's bowling tip, we have the younger bowler. With the help of my friends Clayton, Darlene, and Deanna, we're going to show you how youngsters who have had a little bit of coaching can really enjoy our sport. All right, Deanna, let's get you lined up for a shot. Deanna's got a nice grip on the ball. Now, Deanna, I want you to stand right about the middle of the lane. You see that center dot? Okay. Now, let's pick an arrow out there that you can hit pretty well. I think right around the third arrow. That's a good spot where you can keep the ball in the lane. Does that sound good to you? Okay, let's see you throw a good shot. Boy, right over the third arrow. All right. That a girl, Deanna. There you have it. Here's an 8-year-old youngster enjoying the sport of bowling. She's had the luxury of a little practice, some coaching at the junior level, and now she can enjoy our sport for a lifetime.
Good job, Bo. And you, Daddy of 4, which you will celebrate in absentia tomorrow in Las Vegas, and they'll be in St. Louis.
Well, thank you, Chris. Same to you.
Yes.
Father of 3, Father's Day coming up tomorrow, and this young man right here would like to have a nice Father's Day present with his first PBA title. Dave D'Entremont, looking for his first championship victory.
Great way to start. So we get a good look now at the 1986 PBA Rookie of the Year. He was 5th here last year. The 1992 Firestone Tournament of Champions winner. Now, any way to treat the president of the PBA?
My goodness, what a
heavens.
Horrible break to start the match with. What was an apparent good shot on the way down the lane. He executed very well, leaves a 7-10. We've seen this a number of times in previous weeks. Mark Roth making the 7-10 1980, also in California, a little bit north of here, Anaheim. Let's see what McDowell can do.
So, Marc McDowell shooting for his 3rd title of the year and his 4th TV appearance. It's an open frame. Let's see how he bounces back.
Good point, Chris. The tournament leader has had everything going against him this year. They're 5-15 from the #1 position. They've averaged 200. Their opponent's 214. And to top it off, McDowell has never won from the #1 slot. So he's got his back to the wall, and he's behind in the early going.
And then he comes up with a high hit on the left lane.
Marc McDowell, a very strong individual physically, as all 5 players have been here today, as he's the 3-6, needs to get the ball over in the 3 zone, let the ball take out the 6. Was once a college football player, had a 55-yard field goal to his credit. Right now, he'd just like to get the ball between these 2 pins and not the uprights.
Mark, a very successful amateur bowler with the West Texas State University bowling team.
Went to college on a bowling scholarship, many available around this country. Now, D'Entremont, sitting on the bench, took an 11-pin lead, can extend to 21 with a strike here in the 2nd.
Dave D'Entremont, 3 seconds this year, including in the Masters competition.
5 seconds overall in his career, but a very confident shot here as you see him reach way out and down the lane. He's taking his time, waiting for the shot, and this is something we haven't seen from him under pressure. Let's see if he can really jump on McDowell here.
Three in a row in the house where there were 6 300 games this week.
Interesting match you alluded to earlier, Chris Schenkel, where Wayne Webb beat Dave Traber 300 to 299. That is excitement for this young man right now. He's got to get some strikes together to put any excitement in this match.
And his wife, Patty, watching painfully in Madison, Wisconsin.
One of the best bowlers in the world today and one of the best forms. He's really worked on his game, and the most important part is right here. He used to bounce out with his swing. Now he keeps it in tight, and he drives straight through the shot, and that's been the great improvement in his game. I remember when Brian Voss made that improvement around 1985, and he also became a $1 million player out here.
So Marc McDowell is trying to win his second match here at Cedar Lanes, or his second title. Won't be easy.
No, you're right. And going back to that little graphic or little replay we had of McDowell's style, I say not go over the top of the ball. His arm swing is pushed away in line with his target, and then many players have a tendency at the top of the swing to let their swing bounce out. Marc McDowell has rectified that habit in his game and has made him the star he is today. However, he trails by 32 here in the fourth.
Okay, strike is first, coming in the fourth frame of this championship match as he trails by 32. We'll be back.
What's been the highlight of your late getting a stop, Matt?
I'd say this new honey barbecue chicken, Russ.
Get 2 pieces with baked beans, coleslaw, and a biscuit and a roundup meal for just $2.99. Or the 8-piece meal, just $9.99.
Oh, what? The whole thing.
Now get to KFC as quick as you can. Honey barbecue wings are back, glazed in a special sauce with a touch of honey. People are rushing to try it. KFC honey barbecue wings in Lake Edna or your neck of the woods.
Get this, sports fans. She bowls 2 leagues a week. Her average is 89, but her age is 101. She'll be 102 July 22nd. We love you, Maude McIntyre. Thank you for coming.
Chris told me earlier that she just came back from the state tournament in which she participated. It was tough on the field. And here's a guy who's tough on our tournament leader, perfect through 3 frames, Dave D'Entremont, looking for his first title, 4th frame.
A 4-bagger.
Well, you're seeing Dave D'Entremont when he's loose, and that's how he gets to the top 5 so many times. He's paid his dues out here. He's learned how to bowl. He's learned how to keep his wrist underneath the ball as a somewhat tentative and anxious Marc McDowell says, is this guy ever going to stop? 5th frame. The
number 5 money earner of the year, $78,565, and here's the number 2, Marc McDowell, $118,450. Eric Forkel, the leader, with $140,750. Such a needy situation, though. To strike up, oh my goodness.
Well, he just got caught from behind there. He threw an excellent shot. You can see that determination on his face goes right through the shot. Solid 9. Hey, Chris, you can learn a lot about a fellow when things aren't going so well. And look at how nicely he is taking it.
Marc McDowell steps down as soon as the PBA president. He shares with us the top accomplishments which have during his tenure.
Well, I guess the most exciting thing was being involved in selecting the new commissioner. That's the direction the PBA is going to be taking in the next 5 to 10 years, so it was very important to be involved in that and make the right decisions. Other than that, I think opening the communication lines between the players and the office, I think we've come a long way in that aspect, and it's really worked out well.
Marc McDowell, All-American young man, if there ever was one.
Dintermont perfect through 5.
Our statistician, Butch Soper, loves to put those X's on the sheet. Well, he's put 6. We've reached the halfway point. Nelson?
Well, this bowling center has the record for the highest scoring championship round, a composite 250 average, 1979. They won't break that today, but these lanes are in the type of condition where you get a perfect game. There's a little pull area, great carry, and right now this man is perfect through 6. 6 more to go.
All right. It's back in Parma, Ohio. Hal Gudas and all of them are shaking me.
Well, this young man sponsors himself. It had been all his money. Now he's just got to worry about the title as he leaves a simple spare of the 3-pin.
And his opponent, Marc McDowell, has a strike up, shooting in the 7th frame.
Mandatory for McDowell. He has a potential 238. That would be possibly enough to win, but he has no room for error.
Oh, yes. You talk about, Bo, a big strike. That was one. And you talk about coordination of bowling ball color and close. He's the epitome.
I agree. And you'll see a little different reaction on his face this time compared to the solid 9 on this lane the previous time. Marc McDowell, you can still win this match if you can throw some strikes. He's still in it, even though the scoreboard has him behind by 51.
Oh, this is fun.
Once again, we've seen a very playable bowling condition presented by the Professional Bowlers Association. 4 weeks in a row here, Seattle, Portland, last week in Riverside, and once again in Fresno. Next week we head to El Paso, but this match is still open for a winner.
The 8th frame. Here in Fresno, the home of William Sororian, world-famous writer, born here in 1908, died here in 1981, one-time Fresno newsboy, though. The novel I remember most is a human comedy. Play, short stories, and I guess you'd say that William Sororian is an American original from Fresno.
No comedy in this shot. No fiction in this shot. This is real. This is a potential title shot.
Woo!
Marc McDowell cannot win if he doesn't strike out. Possible 238, 9th frame. I think he said finally, didn't he, Chris?
Yes, I think he did. And rightfully so, because unfortunate for Mark. Dave, second in Seattle, second at the Fair Lanes, second at the ABC Bud Light Masters, 5th at the Bud Light Tournament Players, 3rd in the Beaumont Doubles, 2nd in the Tums Classic. So finally, Dave D'Entremont has gotten that title.
Going to have a little victory lap here. Marc McDowell just kind of getting out of his way. Mark just got some bad breaks. 7-10, the solid 9 was his undoing. He bowled well.
And of course, D'Entremont was the 2nd seed, and he had to defeat George Branham, which he did 213 to 195 in the semifinal game to get the opportunity to go against Marc McDowell of Madison, Wisconsin. So it's a 195 for Mark, who waves goodbye to those pins and congratulates First time PBA champion, 31-year-old Dave D'Entremont.
Cosmetic frame here, as they say on the PBA Tour. D'Entremont with a spare would be in the 250s. Even if he misses it, 240s. It's going to be 250s and a winner.
Marc McDowell's 195. Victory number 1 in the PBA Tour for Dave D'Entremont. We'll be back.
Her name is Sarah, and she's lucky, because today she'll encounter egrets doing dances and alligators in the wild. She'll see how other moms take care of their kids. And she'll be doing this, recycling, through a program of the National Park Service and its recycling partner, Dow.
We can make a difference in what tomorrow brings.
Together with the National Park Service and folks like Sarah.
Dow lets you do great things.
Lakes? What can I say? I mean, they look kind of stupid just sitting there. Lights out, nobody's home. I mean, look, there's no fruit, there's no raisins, there's nothing in here. There's something about this. It's kind of simple. It's really crunchy. You know, I like them.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes? Cool.
Taste them again for the first time.
I don't need some fancy cologne to tell me I'm a man. I use Skin Bracer. It smells great, but it also cools and tones my skin. Confidence is very sexy. Don't you think?
Skin Bracer Aftershave by Menon.
I'm a big man.
Why do so many men stick with Bic?
I'm a big man.
Because there's a Bic for every beard. Regular, sensitive, metal.
Yeah, I'm a big man.
I'm a big man.
Here in Fresno, California, from Parma, Ohio, a new first-time champion. Dave D'Entremont winning $18,000, Marc McDowell second, so on down the line with a big 258, 9 strikes to McDowell's 195. And if there was ever a man that deserved to get that first win, wow.
7 times the lucky charm, I guess. This is number 7, so. Honey, I'm sorry you couldn't make it. You said this would happen. I'll talk to you in a few minutes.
Honey is Sylvia, your wife.
Right, right. She told me a couple weeks ago after Seattle, she says, because Portland was an early show, too. Says, you'll make that and win it, and I can't be there. So, didn't happen a few weeks ago, but it happened this week.
Okay, we're going to come back here with Spaulding and his daughter, Shelley, in a moment, but I want to go to Bo Burton right now. No, we're going to bring Marc McDowell in here. You're making me do all the work. Marc, you still have that grace, you have that class that has made you not only a great bowler, but a great president of the PBA.
Well, thanks, Chris. Yeah, I don't know. It's the only way I know how to handle it, I guess. Dave bowled great. I gave it my best. I had a couple unlucky breaks early, but that's the way this game goes. Dave's deserved a title for a long time. I wish it wouldn't have came against me, but it did. So there'll be many more for him and hopefully many more for me.
And, of course, you're still in the battle, Marc, for Player of the Year. You picked up a sizable check today. You're number 2 in money. You still have 2 victories, so there is a ways to go, like El Paso.
Sure, yeah. I'll be going on to El Paso and then Tucson. After Ferraro won last week, it kind of got me going. I felt like I had to answer the call, and I gave it my best this week. Move on to Tucson and El Paso, like you said, and I feel like I'm bowling really well. Like Firestone gave me all the confidence in the world, and I'm just looking and enjoying this Bowler of the Year race. It's fun.
I think Dave enjoyed today.
I had a blast.
You started very, very young.
Yeah, I started bowling when I was 4. Actually went at it kind of backwards. I came out here before I started bowling a regional program. I wish I'd done it the other way around. I might have a few more years under me, but I've been bowling well the last year and a half, so I'm happy.
Okay, let's get Shelley Cox, who's the general manager of Cedar Lanes. with a wonderful trophy, Shelley.
Yes, oh, it was really exciting. We were hoping you'd get a 300.
And, of course, Spaulding Wathen, who has been such a big part of Fresno and bowling here, has what you're looking for, David.
Yeah, well, congratulations on your first win, Dave. You're lucky 7.
I'd just like to thank Spaulding and Shelley and everybody here at Cedar Lanes. I didn't know too much about Fresno before this week, but this is coming one of my favorite places.
What's your schedule now?
Well, actually, my wife and I are in the process of having a house built. It's supposed to be done sometime in August, so this is going to look real nice over the fireplace.
Oh, yes, it will on that mantel, made of walnut wood, we hope. You'll be in El Paso?
Yeah, I'm going to bowl all the way through San Antonio, and then I'm going to take a week off, and then bowl the rest, too.
All of us at ABC congratulate you, and we see you, Mark, and you, Dave, and the rest of the pros in El Paso. For Nelson Burton, so long from Fresno and Cedar Lanes. The executive producer of ABC Sports' presentation of the Professional Bowlers Tour is Jack O'Hara. Produced by Carol Letty. Directed by Larry Camp. Technical Director, Michael Carmen. Associate Director, Norm Samet. Technical Operations Manager, Les Weiss. Unit Manager, Arthur Budegian. Assistant to the producer, Russell Brooks. Stage Manager, Tom Gatewood.
Coming up next, it's live 18-hole coverage of the U.S. Open Golf Championship. From legendary Pebble Beach, the world's greatest golfers will challenge for our national title live. The Pro Bowlers Tour has been brought to you by Dow, the people who let you do great things. And by Napa, because there are no unimportant parts. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, recognized around the world as the leader in sports television.